When it comes to horses, Fred Wool doesn't have to say much to get a reaction. In fact, when Fred talks about horses, the country listens.
I am part of the National Wild Horse and Burro Advisory Committee.
A committee formed in the early 70s to help the Bureau of Land Management figure out how to care for 17,000 wild horses, a population which has since exploded.
There's currently about 70,000 horses running free yet on the range, and another 45,000 in some kind of holding.
Which brings us 2 hours south of Tulsa.
This is the Mowdy Ranch,
where Clay and Kit Mowdy take care of 150 wild Mustangs on the state's only ecotourism ranch.
We've had the horses for 2.5 years now, and we've gotten to know a lot of them.
we offer tours for people to come, and we'll take them around in our Ranger and let them take pictures, show them the horses for a couple hours.
One of the goals of the program is to let the public know that the vast majority of wild horses, although not the Mowdys, are available for sale.
$125. And you can get 2 for $150.
In fact, Fred's horse Blue used to be wild.
Blue here is a star. He does shows at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri.
So many of them are trainable. So many of them are gorgeous horses that people should adopt and use. It's unique that our country still has herds of these horses like this.
And yet, the size of these herds has resulted in a unique problem, because there are now so many wild horses that the last time the committee met,
there was 8 yeas, 1 no.
They voted to euthanize over 4,000 of them. And when word of that hit the news,
Oh, it didn't go over very good at all.
Which was kind of the point. None of the horses ended up being put down, but a red flag was certainly raised that despite a $70 million budget, the system is overwhelmed.
It's just we have way too many horses for the amount of land that we've got.
So what's going to happen the next time the committee meets?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
A showdown straight out of the Old West, with high noon approaching and no guarantee that everyone will get to ride off into the sunset.
They're worth saving. They're part of our history.
The people who lived here still talk about their teams and their '84 state championship, but more than anything, they miss the town that team represented. The view from our gusty drone shows why most people moved away. The mining scars are obvious, but the real problem is the lead and other heavy metals that are in the water and the soil beneath their feet.
I love the place, don't really care for the environment.
Like many others, former pitcher Mayor Sam Freeman started in the lead mines as a teenager. He followed generations of Oklahoma miners who provided the lead for 2 world wars. The work helped his family, but the mines were the death of his town. While he's moved a few miles away, he's glad some people have stayed on in Pitcher.
Some of the finest people on the face of this earth came from right here in Pitcher, Oklahoma. You know, and yeah, we had our problems, you know, but you'll never find a prouder bunch of people anyway.
The town was dissolved when it was learned that more than 1/3 of the children had lead poisoning. In addition, there's a constant threat of cave-ins. This is a graphic example of why it's no longer safe to live in Pitcher. The ceiling of a mine is caved in, dropping the soil a good 15 feet. Dirt has been falling in the hole as I've been standing here. This can happen anywhere in this area, to a home or a highway.
There really weren't any mining rules back then, 100 years ago. And sometimes they mined up until they saw tree roots. So, you can imagine over time, you're going to have these huge collapses, mine collapses.
It scares me to drive down the streets, because I have seen one cave in when I was a kid that was just 2 houses down from my mother, and it caved in big right underneath a woman's bedroom.
We found Opal Alexander visiting family on the edge of town. She had relatives who worked in the mines, and she played on the gravel piles as a kid. She'll never forget her hometown.
It was like family. Everybody was like family. I mean, if you needed something, there was somebody here that was going to help you get it, and that's just the way it was.
While she realizes Pitcher is gone for good, there are plans to save this troubled land. Uncle Sam plans to return much of it to the Quapaw Nation. The tribe is already restoring some areas.
This isn't the way it should be. It should be nice, clean prairie, and we want to give back. We want to make it something that we can be proud of and not something that you can't even take people to.
They know it will take decades, but they hope to heal the environment. A restored prairie is a better backdrop for people's memories than empty buildings and boarded up doors. In Ottawa County, Charles Ely, Tulsa's Channel 8.
That looks like a bad dude, too.
The graphic images of Terrence Crutcher being shot provoked plenty of raw emotions on all sides. Pictures such as these can turn a city upside down. But in Tulsa, even in the midst of protests, cooler heads prevailed and there were no major problems. But now, months later, comes the trial of the officer who fired the fatal shot. And the question is, will Tulsa remain cool?
I sense that anxieties are rising again. The closer we get to this historic trial.
Ray Owens and Metropolitan Baptist Church held a vigil just one day before Officer Betty Shelby was charged with first-degree manslaughter. He says people were angry then and some still are.
We must prepare ourselves for whatever is the outcome. Whatever the verdict happens to be, there will be some very angry people.
And the president of the Fraternal Order of Police says his officer members and the city of Tulsa are both ready.
I think that the Tulsa's definitely prepared. And as evident when the district attorney's office filed charges, nothing happened.
The trial will happen in this courtroom, which seats 65, and the sheriff's office will handle security here, which includes top secret tactical maneuvers for Shelby and heightened awareness.
In this case, we received word that Betty Shelby has gotten death threats.
She will go through security checkpoints the public may not see. The sheriff's department has some practice with high-profile cases, including the trial of former Reserve Deputy Bob Bates, convicted of killing Eric Harris. They also gave special attention in the two trials of former police officer Shannon Kepler, both ending in hung juries.
We learn from each case that we do, and we'll do whatever it takes to secure that courthouse.
It will mean more manpower with media and spectators going through checkpoints like this one. Here, there is an invisible line that news cameras cannot cross, and those entering the courtroom may have to sign in with their driver's license. Guilty or not, community leaders expect a reaction. The Fraternal Order of Police expects no problems based on the past.
I have a pretty good idea. Everything's going to be okay.
Others believe the verdict will trigger emotions.
We need to be ready for some sort of fallout after the verdict is released.
Either way.
Either way.
Not for Taser, I think.
Ready or not, Tulsa will find itself in the national spotlight over the shooting of Terrence Crutcher when the trial starts May the 8th. Kim Jackson, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Uncle Sam wants you. He wants you to visit this stand for your holiday explosives so the Edison Band can take to the field this fall with everything they need. It's almost your patriotic duty. Rather than waiting for adults to give them a handout, these kids are jumping into the American Free Enterprise System. They're trading sweat in the summer sun to ensure the future of their program.
Our band, we look at that and we go, well, we don't care, we're not going to get any funding. We're going to go out and we're going to make a difference. We're going to do something. We're going to show that the Edison Band and the Edison students that we have the gusto to go out and make a difference and show all of them that we don't need the school's money. We can make our own money.
From instruments to marching plans and music, bands aren't cheap. The kids say the practicing they do is demanding so they can deal with the work hours.
A lot of times people say, oh, we're kids, I mean, we can't do anything about stuff like this. But in reality, I mean, we can step up and we can take action and we can make our school a better place by making music programs better.
The kids say they're a big family of 65 members. The Booster Club parents who keep them pointed in the right direction say you can do a lot with controlled teenage chaos.
They know that if they want to have what we need for next year, then they do need to come and work for it. And that's what I want to instill in my own children. And so I'm glad that we're instilling it in all these kids.
A cemetery isn't for the living, but on Memorial Day, the Renty Grove Cemetery comes to life.
Proud. Proud.
For generations, Pat Clark and her family have been keeping the cemetery open and beautiful.
I'm 64, so
At least 60 years?
60 years or longer. Yeah.
Their family's headstones overlook the acre plot of land.
All this entire area back here are Nortons, it's my family.
It was established in 1904 as an all-African American cemetery. It's one of the oldest in Tulsa.
You will notice that there are headstones that every year they never get flowers. They have no one to come give them memories.
Priscilla Norton Brown says this time each year they make sure every grave has a flower. That's one of the duties that her family takes on, including taking care of it the rest of the year.
It's very hard because our funds are little or none.
She says the donations they collect on Memorial Day simply aren't enough.
But our goal is to get some type of foundation or trust established so that their monies will always be there.
But they say even if the money isn't there, like the generations before them, they'll continue to fight to keep their history alive.